Dear listener, welcome to Monday Drive Time. It's time for our Monday meeting. We thought we'd go a little later in the day today because there was going to be some World Cup action to talk about. Showbiz, were you on Team Argentina or Team Spain?
Hello, radio. Love talking radio. I was on Team Argentina, but to be honest with you, I can't wait to talk about which radio station won the World Cup. Couple of clear wins this morning, and I'm so people have covered it very well, I think, over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it's a great strength of radio. Tap into the local moments as they're happening. I was driving into the city of Melbourne this morning, flicked around all the stations, so at the end of this episode, we'll reveal our winners of the World Cup of radio. Just to go back last week, though, your interview with Pete and Kymba from Perth got a lot of reaction to that on the socials over the weekend. That was a fascinating chat.
Oh, they are radio sweethearts, Pete and Kymba, absolute legends. And what you didn't hear, that chat was about 45 minutes. We condensed it down to about 15. They are just real, honest and raw. And talk about a real breakfast show. They know they're not number one in Perth. They're aware of that. And they're ready for the day that Perth radio habits change. And they want to build a show now. As they said, some shows were there for 20, 30 years, and people had to wait their time. And they're like, we are ready to go. Takeaways from that chat. If you had a T-shirt with their photo on it, the line should be, we grew here, you flew here. Don't meddle in Perth if you're not from Perth. And I thought, yeah, I can understand that. You know, you and I as radio consultants and coaches on the side, we don't live there. We know radio, but we don't know Perth radio. And I thought their point there was pretty good. But what I loved the most was Kymba. She just says, be yourself, talk your own truth, have fun and create a space where you can have tough conversations. You don't have to have them every day, but when they're available or when they need to happen, be in a position where you can create them. I just thought they were great. I loved them.
Yeah, go back and have a listen. Pete and Kymba, the episode came out on Saturday morning. If you're not up to date, we do release episodes on the daily now, so you can go back and have a listen to that chat. Also, I just want to shout out, great to hear you say that you edited a 45-minute interview down to 15. It shows me you do understand what a quarter hour means. It's 15 minutes, right?
Took me a long time. I fought you on it for a long time. People have been fighting you on it, and you know what? You win. 15 minutes is all we need. That's all we need.
Well, a bit of a shout out to DJ Payne, who thinks you should have a longer format interview show. And I'm like, that's a whole other podcast.
There was a DM over the weekend that said, when's Liam getting a once-a-week long-form interview? And I'm like, no one needs that, DJ Payne. No one needs that. Quarter hour, it is what it is. It's on the T-shirt. It's the quarter hour, okay?
Yes, stick to the format. That's my golden rule. So the long weekend is dead. Now, I don't remember if you remember this, Liam, but a few years ago, Scott Morrison was saying that with electric vehicles, I think the opposition were getting rid of the ute or something like that. They were killing the weekend. Well, the long weekend has finally been killed off. So Eddie Maguire announced on Friday that it's the end of the long weekend after a successful 5-episode run. And it appears like now Eddie is moving into sport.
Eddie said it best. He has such a funny line. And you know what? He's Teflon. You can't scratch him. And he comes on and he says, to be honest with you folks, the weekend was longer than this show put together. And, you know, it was pretty funny. Eddie says that Gold's the new home of sport and a 6 p.m. sports show on a Friday and a Monday. I think it wasn't really given the chance, the long weekend itself. We all know why. But Eddie doing a sports show for an hour, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it. I think it's a pretty cluttered market to be doing sport, podcasts. We've got all AM stations covering sport. I think it's a little bit of a hard sell, I reckon, a Friday and a Monday. If it was every night of the week, I think he's got a chance to build some consistency in audience. But 2 times a week, I reckon this is just a 2026 thing, and he'll be back in 2027 with something different.
See, the fact that it's Eddie Maguire to me is the reason I'd tune over. I mean, Eddie's got the X factor. Why would you not listen to Eddie Maguire? Why would you listen to someone with a lesser profile? Eddie's got the in to all the sports stars. I've been tuning in for that reason. And to be frank, all bets are off after 6 p.m. at night. Don't give me but the Golds and music. No, it's after 6 p.m. None of you put a live announcer on anyway. No one's doing midnight to dawn. No one's doing late nights. You take what you can get. Content's content. Some of my favourite programming over the years has been when those radio stations do the news simulcast. Now, I would listen to that more than I would watch the news. Like if I'm in the car, I like a bit of company. I like hearing the day's stories. I'm familiar with the news format. So Eddie doing a 1-hour show suits radio, suits content perfectly, as does, a news simulcast, which is just, it's content. I think it'll work.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to agree to disagree on that one. Let's see how the year plays out.
Okay.
Speaking of talk, so 4BC was the topic of many conversations in our P1 WhatsApp group over the weekend, we had a lot of conversations with Spencer Housen was in there. We've got Stephen, a few others who are offering their comments. Now, I'm not sure about this. You're our Brisbane correspondent or Queensland correspondent on this podcast. Is it true that talk radio can't work in Brisbane?
Absolutely false. And it really upsets me when people say that, because when I say names like Peter Dick and Greg Carey, over the years, we've had some huge talk hosts, even Spencer House. I mean, Spencer Housen rated like a 25 at one point there. I'm sure he'll tell you that. Sure, like was like a 14 or 17, but he was the king of radio in Brisbane for a very long time. Talk does work. I think sometimes the problem is self-inflicted. When you took away the live and local for a long time, it's hard to claw that one back, which they had been doing. But can I just say, I love Dean Miller and Sophie Formica. And individually, they're great performers. Sophie was excellent on afternoons. You couldn't get more of a Queensland-Brisbane show than those two. And I want to tell you a quick little Dean Miller story. So I grew up listening to Dean Miller on the radio. Dean was on Triple M for a long time, and he was sensational. He was just the ultimate rock dog, like he was so cool. And talk about some counter programming. When they launched Sammy and Dean in Brisbane, so Sammy Power and Dean Miller, I was working on the B105 morning crew with Jamie Dunn, Ian Skip, and Robin Bailey. And they must have got wind that Sammy Power was coming to town. So they counter programmed, and they started about 6 weeks out the B105 Power Lunch. Basically, that was her gimmick in Sydney, was the Power Lunch, Sammy Power. And they stole it out from under her. And so for 6 weeks, we were doing the B105 Power Lunch. So when Sammy and Dean launched on Triple M opposite us, we'd already counter-programmed that, and we'd stolen their best benchmark. So they couldn't use that one. So sorry, Dino. But I text Dean about a month ago just saying how much I'd enjoyed him back on the radio and how great he was sounding. A little more embarrassing for the Sophie Formica story. So she was a TV gal. For those that don't know, she was on Saturday Disney, that TV show in the 90s on Channel 7. She did travel shows for years. She's an actress. And as a kid, I sent him one of those viewer letters to Saturday Disney. So you know how the kids write the letters and they post the letters in? Well, I went one step further. I made a booklet. So I've gone and made this quiz book of Disney characters and did some drawings and did some little, Sudoku art in there. And I sent it in to Sophie, hoping to get on the TV. Now, something you would think was a great task for a 10-year-old to do on a wet weekend, make a book and send it to Saturday Disney. I reckon I was about 16 or 17 at the time when I did it. So I was verging on creepy territory. I've tried to remind her of it. I remember when that teenager sent you that booklet? She's like, just like Homer Simpson, fading back into the hedge. I mean, that just shows my love of Sophie Formica. She's a great presenter. They'll both bounce back. It is a shame. In saying that, I don't know if you've heard Jason Matthews on the radio. He's very good. He's very good. He's excellent, actually. So it's sad to see them go. And personally, I love them both, actually. I think they're great presenters. But I also love Jason Matthews. So a great, strong, local breakfast show. So it's up and up.
Yeah, I think also that, there's some good people in charge there. And I think all the comments you're probably seeing in chat rooms or in articles, that these sort of anonymous comments are coming from disgruntled former employees, and you always have to take those with a grain of salt. And I wouldn't be surprised if the 2027 4BC lineup is very, very strong indeed. Hey, just because this has just dropped into my head, is it true that you have a very large back catalogue of Craig Bruce B105 air checks?
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder if they'll come in handy.
I was that guy in the 90s that taped a lot of radio, and I had mates that taped a lot of radio. So I've got back catalogues just sitting there that did not get used for years until they were required and needed. And I'm just going to tell listeners of this pod a little inside story. I've been trying to get Wadio to put him on this pod for weeks, and he's like, it ain't happening. And I'm like, shots have been fired. When can we roll them out? So if you'd like to hear some old CB air checks, you know who's got them, but you know who the gatekeeper is, and it ain't me.
Yeah, I'm very cautious about poking the bear, but never mind.
Come on, the shots have been fired. And you know what? As I said to you in your old podcast, somewhere deep down in the collection is an air check of you when you were on breakfast in young New South Wales.
I've burnt them all.
When you were my boss. I've got air checks everywhere. So either you play his or I'll give him yours and he can play yours.
You're like the ultimate radio blackmail person. You've got air checks of people ready to go.
It's like when they say, I've got photos. No, I've got the air checks. So if you'd like to hear them, you know what to do, and we'll put the pressure on where it's most required.
All right. Well, speaking of which, let's talk about Kyle Sandilands. So over there at the Cult of Kyle, they've successfully announced that the show is going to air on the 10th of August. It's also going to be $99 per year. Now, I just want to kind of, again, state really clearly, if anyone can make this model work, it's Kyle. He is the perfect personality for a pay-per-listen style show. I'm sure the show will be compelling. Here's my trouble with it. $99 a year sounds like a great bargain to people inside the media bubble. Out in the real world, people don't have that kind of cash lying around right now. And if they are, they're not spending it on an annual subscription. So, of course, there's going to be a rush of signups to Kyle's service in the first week, and they're going to be announcing those. I'm not sure we'll ever hear the true numbers because I don't think they have to actually report them. There'll be a private podcast and they can report whatever numbers they like. So we'll probably never know how many subscribers they've got, or we might get an exaggerated version. Maybe. Who knows? But I can't imagine beyond the initial offer of those core Kyle fans, of which there's thousands, I don't think it's going to grow exponentially across the year. And I wouldn't even be surprised if people opt out after about 6 months because it sounds really good. But $99 for a whole year sounds like a bargain to people who can afford it. It actually sounds like I could do something else with that money to people who can't.
Do the math. So if he's doing 250 shows a year, roughly because of weekends, that's about 40 cents a show. So if you're asking if it's value for money, I think it's value for money. I think it actually ticks a lot of box value-wise. Every now and again, my wife and I will sit and do a list of all our expenses, and what's chewing through the budget is all the subscriptions. We've got Netflix, we had Stan, I got rid of that. We had Binge, I got rid of that. We had Apple, I got rid of that. I told the kids we're keeping 2 of them. And so we keep Amazon Prime because it gets us free deliveries. Not a lot to choose from on that site. And we keep Netflix. And that keeps us happy. At the same time, you know what, kids? Jump on the SBS website. That's for free. ABC iView. That's for free. It's just the fact that I couldn't see an opt-out button. And so I would have liked a trial period. And I think to sign up originally for $99, that's too much for me. I'm like, I'm not going to pay that.
I'll tell you something else about pricing. And I've spoken to a pricing expert about, a guy who's written a book about pricing. The comparison of $1.19 a day, or it's only a cup of coffee, that kind of thing, that logic only works when people are paying it by the day, right? So you say, oh, it's only that much per day. If you said to me, would I buy Kyle's show for $1.19 a day? I'd probably take the punt and go, yeah, sure. And I might subscribe 4 times across a month, or I might subscribe 20 times, doesn't matter. But I'm putting it in direct comparison with the cup of coffee because I actually am paying that for a cup of coffee. It doesn't work when you're asking someone to go $99 for a year and it's only a cup of coffee today. That's actually a academic problem, not a real world problem, because people are out there paying for their real things, like you said. So
where do you consume your media? So for me, a lot of it's in the car. And so I'm finding I've got less hours in the day as opposed to content to choose from. So if I put all the podcasts together, if I listen to your other podcasts, Media Tarts, which I love, I'm listening to Game Changers, I listen back to us at least 6 times a day to make sure we sound half decent. There's a couple of others in there that I like. There's already an hour, 2 hours that I just don't have the time. So for me to listen daily, I'd need to be doing a pretty big commute to listen to it every day. And in that regard would turn me off paying that much for the year. It's a lot. I don't think it's ridiculous money.
It's not ridiculous, but out in the real world, you're making decisions around filling up the car with petrol and having takeaway, and it sits in that bracket of how much you have to fork out now. So it sounds like great value, and no doubt when we hear the show, we'll go, gee, that's great value. But in a purchase decision moment, that's what people are comparing it to. Where else would I spend that $99?
Well, they say that the only other team that could do it's Hamish and Andy, and Howard Stern did it. Could this be the new model?
Yeah, I'm not bullish on it. I think people struggle to pay for things they've got for free. And the reality is, as much as we want to say that Kyle is this amazing act, Kyle on his own is different to Kyle and Jackie O, and that's got to be priced in for people. They haven't really heard Kyle and Jackie O. In fact, they only heard it for the last 2 weeks when Jackie wasn't there. The Kyle show is very different. It could be an exciting proposition. We'll judge it when we actually hear it rather than advance. But I just think the pricing has still a big question mark for me. And I want to make sure, because Bruno will probably listen to this. And just as a little side note, the reason we didn't talk about Bruno is because he used to cut clips out of the Game Changers podcast and play them out of context. That's why we didn't talk about Bruno. is because I think if anyone can make it, he can do it. I just think they need to have a daily, monthly pricing option at the launch. Otherwise, it's going to go gangbusters for a week and then it's going to plateau.
We have to do some shout outs because we've got a lot of mail to get through this week. We're getting a lot of mail coming through, which is actually really exciting, humbling, and it's great to see that this little radio community is growing. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Gavin from Sydney, Stephen Green for your massive ratings archive. Thanks for that. Spencer Housen we mentioned. And Liam, you've written this name down and I only know it as a Crowded House lyric. Tammy Baker.
Well, the lyric comes from the chocolate cake song. Can I have another piece of chocolate cake? Tammy Baker. It's got a lot on her plate. Well, Tammy Barker also has a lot on her plate, who does breakfast in Cairns, and she sent us through a great voicemail.
Good morning, Wade and Liam. It's Tammy here from Cairns. I'm on a break. I had a sleep in and I've been walking through the cane fields here, taking my dog Dozer for a walk. And I just wanted to send you this voice note. I just loved that Monday meeting pod that you just released. I am loving what you guys are doing. I just wish it was longer because I want to hear you guys longer, but I love that you're doing more in a week. You are my regular and I love it. And I just wanted to send that little message. I just jumped back in the car after a beautiful walk through the bustling Cairns fields, and thank you for what you guys put out, not just for our industry, for other people that want to understand more about what we all do. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week. Bye.
Okay, so clearly I should read the rundown with my glasses on. Tammy Barker, it says here, not Tammy Baker. Okay, sure.
I had to ring a good mate, Annabelle Brett, and I said, is it Baker as in baking or barking as in dog? It is Tammy Barker, and she's done a really good job. And thank you for listening. And we appreciate that. We really do.
Tomorrow we're going to talk about Jackie O. So there's some update on the court action. That'll be in your feeds tomorrow. But what have we got for the rest of the week?
John Vertigan's going to join us this week, the Radio Dynasty. So John's dad was on Melbourne radio for a long time. John's still working in Melbourne radio, and now John's son is in radio. We made that gag last week. What do they talk about around the dinner table? Anything but radio, I'll be honest with you. So we'll talk to him. We have got Monique Jews lined up for a chat as well. She was the head of Nova News for a very long time. Dean Buchanan, who started Nova, said that she was instrumental in Nova's success. He named her as one of the three people that actually, if it wasn't for her, it wouldn't have worked. So we'll talk to her a little later on. And before we wrap up, we need to tell you some of the best World Cup radio coverage, especially today, as this drops in your feed. There was some great stuff on the radio this morning.
Absolutely, there was. There's too many to shout out, but I want to say shout out to David Penbathy from 5AA, who happened to be in Spain, did some social video calling in. We had Stephanie Wacklewick from 3AW, who was also in Spain. It's a popular place to be, obviously. Not many people in Argentina, so it's good that Spain won. And I just want to give a shout out to Bob Murphy, because I love Bob Murphy. He's a good guy, and he had the worst thing happen to him where clearly the game was going to end during the news, and he was trying to find a way to get from it's all exciting, it's going to end, and have a listen.
But the World Cup, it is going down to the wire. Argentina are pushing. Spain are still 1-0 up. There's a couple of minutes, but worlds together, and it also will tear two teams apart. Who will it be? I'm stuck between a bunch of...
And he gets cut off by the news team right on 8 o'clock.
The ABC freight train is coming. Get out of the way. Can we throw in a quick hello to Lauren Phillips, who pulled the ultimate Swiftie on her Nova breakfast show in Melbourne when Jace and Clint were like, where's Lauren? And she video called in, and she was live in the stand at the game, and then she hands the phone to Matt Damon.
Hello?
Oh, you're kidding me. Are you at the World Cup?
She's made it to the World Cup, baby!
You know you have a job.
Wait. Matt wants to talk to you. Please hold.
Hello, Matt. Hello, Matthew.
But just an update, it's 0-0 at the half, just for all the commuters in Melbourne.
I will say you're a better actor than you are a football reporter.
If this is being a radio personality, I am terrible at it.
It was great listening, and it was like she is the aspirational host. She is living the life we all. No one knows how she fell into that life, nor does she. But we're just going to run with it and live through her experience. And I thought, Loz, you did an amazing job. Well done.
Well done, Loz. Good work. And you win the week of the World Cup radio. Keep doing good radio, people, and we'll keep celebrating and elevating it. And tomorrow, more on Jackie O's podcast.